Hello, my wonderful friends. It's Justin Michael. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome, of course, if this is your first time stopping by. I have in front of me three different decks. They're all Nicolas Conver styles of the Tarot De Marseille. A few videos back, I mentioned that I had a massive tarot overhaul from Yves Reynaud, which is true. However, I'm not going to show you all of my decks from Yves Reynaud today. It's going to take me a while. But because I got this deck today, I thought I would just do a comparison of the Nicolas Convers in my collection. These aren't the only Convers that I have. Probably most of my Marseilles are a Conver of some sort. But these are the three that I feel that are probably the most accurate historically. Now, keep in mind, I'm not an expert on this. I'm a student. I'm not a teacher, so any mistakes I make or any inaccuracies are my own, and you'll have to forgive me. So in the middle here is the Nicolas Conver by Yves Reynaud. I have on the left. This was originally published by Heron, but it's now put out by Grimaud. It's the same deck. And this is a photo facsimile of the deck that exists in the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris. It's the exact copy. It's a photocopy of that exact deck. So, you know, and then this is, of course, CBD by Bendov. It was thought that the Conver was the most original and the most unique, you know, and the oldest of the Tarot De Marseille. But now we know better. In the last 10 or 15 years, we've learned a lot about tarot history in general. I mean, there's so much about tarot history that's changed in the last few years that most of my classic books on my shelf have inaccurate histories in the beginning. You know, the obligatory Northern Italy section of the books always has, you know, some misleading information that has been since proven wrong. So we're learning things, you know, now. And so we know that, for instance, the Conver was not the oldest deck. In fact, we think now the oldest deck is the Pierre Madenie. This is the Mary Packard version. I don't have the Yves Reynaud version that is on my list. But, and again, I don't know how historically accurate this is, but I'm guessing it's pretty close because, you know, Mary Packard's pretty good, and she set out to create the Pierre Madenie. So this is 1709. So this is, you know, 50 years before Nicolas Conver. And it's very similar. It's in a similar style. And in fact, people now think that Conver was inspired by Francois Chosin. So it's all very interesting. You know what I mean? But you'll see, these are very, very similar. So I'm going to start off, I kind of cheated a little bit and just put that on top of there so you can see. So, you know, Yves' decks come in a nice sturdy box. Anybody who's ordered from him knows that. His boxes are just wonderful. This is the CBD here. And then this deck here, it was thought to be the most historically, it was the only historically accurate Nicolas Conver as of like 15 years ago, until Yves decided to redo the deck. And Yves' deck is based on this deck. They're both based on the same deck in the museum. This is a photocopy, so in a sense, they are the same exact deck. Bendov, on the other hand, he used, I know he hired an artist to redraw the line work, and he had like a tech guy do the coloring, and he made some alterations himself. But ultimately, he did a pretty damn good job of staying true also. It just looks more modern. It's more like kind of updated and bright, vibrant. You know what I mean? If you just look at these two, you can see even the imperfections in the line work on the outside of the card, for instance, they're exactly the same. In fact, I'm going to make that a little closer so you can see it. So, you know, this is a photo facsimile, which means they took a picture and printed it, basically, is what they did. They didn't enhance the colors. Yves tried to restore the colors. You know what I mean? So he didn't go like over the top. And I think what he did was he sort of, you know, he flirted with that line of being a facsimile, but also being a restoration kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, he tried to stay true to the originals, but he made the facial expressions more readable, because you can see in this version here, you can't really see the facial expressions. And that's a very important element in reading tarot. You know, or even just looking at the deck. I mean, you can't see the facial expression. So I think these decks are almost identical. The three of them, they're very, very similar. Where the difference is going to come in is the facial expressions. So you have here, like, the face is almost non-existent. You have like redrawn, but not like over the top, just sort of fixed with a white face, like you know, of that period. And you have the Conver, which is more skin toned, you know, which is very interesting. But yeah, other than that, everything is just about the same. So you have the greens are restored, whereas in the facsimile they're black, almost black or brown. It was originally green, but after a couple hundred years, obviously the colors are going to change. This deck is said to be like very pink, you know what I mean, and you can see it. It's a very sort of pink kind of vibe, whereas this is like white and beige and orange-ish. More beige. So I actually lined them up sort of perfectly, because you can see, like, this is original. This is like, you can really see the great work that Yves did, because he sort of tried to keep it very, very original, but in the same sense, it's now readable. Whereas Bendov sort of went, you know, he went full force, you know. And I think Bendov did a great job. I mean, I really do. But I think Yves' deck is probably what the deck looked like when it was first printed, which is great, you know. That's it. I don't want to take all day doing this. I just figured I would show you. This is definitely worth the purchase, this deck here. I mean, it's not the easiest deck to get, because, you know, in the United States, it's not. Grimauds are very hard to get. It used to be a common company here, from what I understand, but they just don't sell in the United States anymore, Marseille, so it's mostly a European company. So you can get it on Amazon France. That's where I got it. Or eBay, but eBay you'll pay a fortune. You're better off paying the $12 or $15 shipping from France, and just, I think it's 20 bucks or something. I want to say it's less than that. I think it's like $14 for this deck. And you know, if you're going to order from France, you might as well order the other Grimaud deck. You know, make it worth your while. Get a couple different decks. So these two faces are identical, and this, you know, it's just the lines are thicker. You know what I mean? This looks way more authentic. So I'm just going to go a little faster, because there's not really much to say else except for the line work and the faces. You know, it's the exact same art. It's just here it's a little thicker. There's slight variations in the line work, obviously, but it was meant to be redrawn exactly. Like, you can see her face is slightly different in this one, but these two are like, her face is like probably what this originally looked like. You know what I mean? And the angel is very, very similar. Similar faces all throughout, so it's great, man. I'm very impressed with his work. You know, you can really see Yves' work when you're looking at the facsimile. You know what I mean? Everything's the same. you know, the letter, all the imperfections in these two are the same, and this is just like recolored, redrawn. So next on my list from Yves is I'm going to get the Chosen, and I'm going to get his two new Bessie Sans, and the other deck I want is the Burdell. There's a couple actually. I want to try and get all of his decks just for historical reasons. So I'm really having fun learning about this stuff. Oh, this one you can really see it too. You know, this is like completely black. The soil's black. Here it's like looks red or orange. And he just sort of tried to he didn't do too much, but and you can see even the lines over here are exactly the same. Really interesting. Her face is a lot different in this one, you know. Similar. It's very interesting. Okay, and again, you have that pink kind of coming through in the Reynaud deck, whereas it looks almost white here. I don't know if it was originally pink, or I wonder why he made it pink, like where it's not showing in this deck. Wow. Makes me appreciate the CBD tarot too, though, you know, because I mean, you can see, especially, like, I mean, obviously Bendov hired an artist to do it, but Yves is sort of makes his living doing this now. You know what I mean? This is his profession, whereas Bendov was just doing it really because he loved tarot. He wasn't doing it to make money. It was just a hobby for him. So I would say, you know, in like summarizing, you know, this is great because it's a piece of history. You know, it's good. It's an artifact almost. You know, it's the first historically accurate deck that was ever printed. It'd probably be cool to get a vintage copy because I believe they had a plastic case. And it's been around since 1980. This deck is great because it's like a really great sort of restoration. Seems very accurate to me, like what, you know, he didn't take very many liberties. He kind of just went just enough, you know, like Goldilocks kind of thing. And then the CBD, of course, is just, you know, it's a great deck to use and read with. And it's got all the same symbolism in there, most of the same facial expressions, just the line work slightly different. But I would say that these three decks are all great. And, you know, I'm glad I got this, and I'm glad I got the Yves deck also. And, of course, I love my CBD, so, and that's the Fool. But anyway, I hope you guys found that interesting. Thanks for tuning in. And I guess we will talk soon. Love and peace.